Okay, so my name is Michelle Peronto. You heard that earlier. I'm here today to talk to you about C3MP, and you see our graphic here. That's our lovely John Ringling Causeway Bridge. We love that bridge, and I have even a better story behind that a little bit later. We are the Congestion Management Multimodal Planning Initiative team. The team is comprised of myself, Peyton McLeod, and Rohan Sadhai. So anyway, C3MP, it's a fun acronym, so hard to learn to use. It took me, I don't know, 4 years or so. You're going to get the whole story today, and it really is a fun and good story.
Okay.
All right, so this is our District 1 secretary. His name is LK Nandam. And in early 2019, he had a conversation with me and said, Michelle, we really need to do something about relieving congestion in our district. And it's not about transit, but we think transit is going to be part of the answer. But it is truly about all of the modes. How can all of the modes help relieve congestion? And I said, well, in my little tiny world of transit, all of my transit partners do route planning. They don't do urban planning, and neither do I. So I don't know how to do that. So I'm going to give you two choices. You either send me to school, and I thought I could come back to USF. That would be fun, right? And then give me a couple years, like, you know, boots on the ground, and then I'll be your multimodal planner, or you can let me hire somebody. And he said, you can hire somebody. So at that, we have Peyton and Rohan today, and that's how that team was created. After, of course, and this is new to this part of the story. I usually don't share this, but because I'm here with you all, I will share it. Part of that story is that how do you write a planning description? I'm not a planner, like I don't even know. And so you do all the research and try to come up with all the words. And I said, nope, I'm just going to call my friend Rob. And so Rob actually helped the department write the position description for this, and he helped come up with that name that nobody can remember. So I blame him. No, I don't. So like any good initiative and any good group, we came up with our vision, our mission. We set some goals. We came up with what that process would look like, really overall to help link the multitude of transportation planning documents that you have going on. And in my world of transit, you have a transit development plan, but is it really talking to all the other documents? And are those documents talking to everyone else? And so that was, and it remains the underlying focus of what this initiative is getting those planning documents correct, because you really cannot prepare for the future until that's done. When we talk about planning documents, oftentimes we're talking about a 20, 40, or 50-year horizon. So if you can't get that right, then we're just going to keep being in this loop and being stuck on I-4. So we came up with that original vision, and you see it's very focused on public transportation. We came up with that mission, like we are going to solve we're going to solve congestion management by public transportation. And we're very passionate about it. And it didn't take long for that passion to kind of settle in with us. So we did that for a couple years. And then we said, it's time. Let's move towards a multimodal focus. So we still are very involved in how do we resolve congestion issues through public transportation. And now we are also talking with our airports and our freight partners about what does that really look like to the Department of Transportation, to our roadway network. So the vision and mission ultimately stayed the same. We just took away just public transportation focus, added in that multimodal solution. These are some of the planning documents that I was talking about. You can see it's like, God, it's a lot of graph up there. But what you should focus on is that this triangle on the right is the modal plan. So it's the state freight plan. It's the transit development plan. It's the aviation master plan. It's whatever our modal partner is, it's their plan that they generally just kind of sat over there on the side and hoped that somebody might notice what's inside that plan, and it would get incorporated into the LRTP or into some other plan. Ultimately, to come to that middle point, that tentative work program, that's the department's work program. It's like our budget, it's like our checkbook, right? So if you can't do everything else on the screen and get your project incorporated, you can't get it funded and programmed through the Department of Transportation. So you might have this great idea in your modal plan, but if you're not engaging through the whole process, then you can't end up with your great solution contained within our roadway network. So that's been part of our drive, is to really let it, we've allowed this to be an education process, not just for us, but for our partners. And what that means from the department side, when we develop our work program, we look at that long range transportation plan. That's that circle right above that. And we take projects off of that. We're kind of told which projects to take, right? Through a list of project priorities. And when we take projects off of that and we program them. So all of that has a lot of work surrounded around it. That LRTP takes 5 years to develop. I mean, it's a 5-year plan. It takes about a year or 2 years to develop that plan. So there's a lot of engaging pieces to all of these plans. But what was happening to our modal partners, and were they being forgotten in the process? So when LK sat down with us, again, this is early 2019, and he said, this is my initiative. This is what I want you to do. I want you to be able to go out into our community, meet with our MPOs, meet with our transit partners, and really begin building a relationship with them so that they can help us build a better transportation network that's longer lasting than what we have all experienced to date. And he said, when you do that, Michelle, don't think about how much it costs. Well, I've been at the DOT at that point for like 20 years. Like, I know things cost a lot of money and I can't get anything done without having the money. And he's telling me, just think about what that solution is without how much money it will take to do it. And I said, okay, I bet. And so today that is exactly what we do. And we kind of like it. You know, it's a cool way to do your job and to think about what might happen if that great idea could be implemented. I talked earlier, I told you that we set up some goals. These are our goals because this was so important to LK then and still is today. It's important to us, and we had to come up with what are we really going to do and how are we going to do it? So our goals were to try to start building relationships with our MPOs and our transit agencies, our airports, our freight partners. In the beginning, you know, we focused on our transit agency. I was the transit administrator. I still am. So that was kind of easy. It's a phone call. But because of my history with the department, I also had deep relationships with our MPOs. So through that, I was able to make those connections. And the conversations were really just about what can we do from a multimodal perspective in your planning documents to help create a better transportation network. And we promised them all along the way, like, we're not giving you work. We're here to help. And it is an unusual space to be in because they usually don't get that. They don't get a DOT employee saying, I just want to be here to help and have a conversation and help you figure out what might be wrong. And we also said we want to be able to take that triangle and make sure it's talking to all the other documents and ask them for their ideas and how we can take their idea and incorporate it. And then this last piece, incorporate technology. Y'all just witnessed, like, I am not the technology person, right? But neither am I a planner, or wasn't then. So it was a lot of outside of the box for me in general, but also being able to really be in a learning environment for the last 6 years. It's been a great journey. So because the initiative was so important to our district secretary, we were able to set up in-person meetings. It was pre-COVID, so we're at about January of 20. And he came out to every one of our transit agencies and met with them. I'm sorry, not every one of them, our urban transit agencies, and met with them in person to share his story and to share what this initiative would mean for them. So that they could understand that it was something that he felt worthy of enough to really kind of go after and to have somebody that could be in charge of it and really move the initiative forward. So since then, we created a place where we have meetings with the transit agency and their MPO, right? So it goes something like Lee Tran and Lee County MPO. We have a joint meeting with them and us, and we do that throughout our district. And we do that also with the airports, and we're about ready to tip into freight partners. That's a little different, but we'll get there. Those meetings are crafted in a way that allows for a very informal meeting. There is not a sign-in sheet. There are no formal minutes. It is a true, what can we think of? What do you have to ask us? And we're very open to anything. And I'm a kind of an open person. And if they ask something that I know that is not feasible or I can't do, I'm gonna just tell them like, no, come again, like, let's try something different. Or I'm like, I have no idea what you just said. Let me go figure it out and I'll come back to you. So those meetings have been so successful. We did a survey recently and we were a little nervous. Who isn't nervous about sending a survey out to the people that you're working with, right? And it came back like we got a little 5-star on it. So it was good. They like it. And I think that they like it because they see the department in a very different way than they ever have before. And that's part of what this team has been able to create. So we also have had a lot of fun with reviewing those planning documents and being way more engaged than the department ever has been before. So we're reviewing planning documents really for content and not just, did you make sure you included the thing that the checklist said that you should have included? It's really a great back and forth. They like it. Their consultant teams like it. And they feel like we're really adding to the quality of their plan. And then overall, we're just trying to think of anything that could be an opportunity for us that could change what our transportation network looks like. So that's the backstory. These are our few success stories that we have. I mean, we have a lot of them. I selected these because they're fun to talk about. So earlier I said that's our beautiful bridge, John Ringling. It's the bridge that goes from downtown Sarasota over to St. Armand Circle. So there was a project happening, a construction project happening at the base of that bridge on the city side, and it was a very large roundabout. I had no involvement in that. It wasn't impacting my transit system. The piece that it was impacting, they had it all worked out and managed. And then one day in a meeting with LK, he said, Michelle, I think we probably should send a bus over that bridge in its own lane. Like, it's a bridge. Like, I can't create a lane on a bridge. Like, that doesn't, I don't even understand what you're saying. He's like, I think there's enough space here to do that. So off we went. It probably took about 2 years, no less than 30 department employees, everyone from roadway design to construction to the structures engineer, to come up with a plan of how might we make that happen. It was something that the city had also agreed to and wanted for their community. And they came to us and said, well, you know, this could work if you did it like this. And we're like, but it's so outside of the box. The department doesn't do that. So I put on my hat of get outside your box and off we went. So this is what we created. We created an interim condition. And all we did was put the strike down and called it a shared bus bike shoulder. The first, the one, the only, I don't know, is there one other one? Is there a handful of other ones in the nation? So that's why we're proud of that, because we took that bridge and made it be something that could be beneficial to its community, that could be beneficial to our roadway network. The ridership is insane. The people love it. And as we were doing that work, we then found out that there were all these projects going on at the same time or right behind one another. And boy, did we get excited, because then it's no longer an interim condition. Now we're really going to be able to change something, because there's an engineering word for it that I don't know, I can't say it, but they're going to pressure wash the bridge and take all the paint off and put all paint back on. And we said, boy, do we have an idea for you. And we came up with this ultimate condition. So today, we reduced that inside shoulder. We got special permission to do that. We reduced the outside shoulder, created a bike lane, a bus lane, and 2 travel lanes, but never changed that bridge, because you can't change that bridge unless it's ready to be reconstructed. So that was something that was done through a conversation of put a bus over that bridge and see how you can get that done. And then through lots of work and lots of research, we were able to figure out that we have all these other projects going on. So we did that with the orange, that rehab part, right? We got all of that work done. And then we found out the red part is the approaches to the bridge. And so we asked that design project manager, take this typical, apply it to what you're getting ready to do. And he said, okay. I mean, it was really that easy, and he's doing it. And then the purple piece is the upcoming project. They're in project development and engineering and a little bit of design right now. And I've asked them to do the same thing, take that typical, make that part of what you're doing. It wasn't an easy okay, but eventually he said okay. So that's happening. And then we hope that we're going to be able to make that final push, come over this last little leg, and have that bus lane run all the way down from downtown Sarasota up and over the bridge with very minimal cost. It was just some good brains thinking of some good ways to do things. Yes.
Because I like here because I think over there too. So I use the bridge open. We also jog over there and I notice a lot of people use the bikers, and very beautiful view. And also a lot of people that's the a circle there, you can be there, got city of Sarasota, and very popular bridge. Yeah. And so that's, I think that about the bus to go over. I think actually that's very good start. Because when people say about, I can get a bus over there, then I can go to San Francisco Beach, very close by, and then hit a bus back. And I think, first, why people want to take it. And so that a lot of motivation people want to take it. So I really think that's a really, really good start, and very beautiful bridge. I know at the beginning, the people are very key. At the beginning, you remember they are just against the bridge.
Yeah.
But after that, I think people like it.
Yeah, they will.
And yeah, so I think that's great.
Thank you. Oh, so this was a fun conversation. This was SRQ at Sarasota Bradenton Airport. And we were having one of those conversations where it's just us and the MPO and the transit agency. And the transit agency said, they're building this ground transportation thing over at the airport. We don't think we have enough space. And I said, okay, well, my airport person sits 2 cubes down. Let me go talk to them. And inside of a month, she was able to get a change order done and get some conversation happening between the aviation project manager and the transit director, their agency, and have what they need. And so it was really a simple thing, but we would never have known that if we hadn't committed ourselves to being engaged in a different way with our MPO and with our transit agency, having those meetings that we don't take minutes at. It's fun. You should try it sometime. So this is our technology piece. We have one of our safety colleagues at the district, John Kubicki, and he has a really cool spreadsheet. I don't really know how else to describe that, but he puts in tons of data and it gives you the information that we need in order to determine what our top 20 corridors are that are either have serious injury or fatalities on them. And so you kind of it bubbles things up for you. So we don't have enough money to do everything, but that at least gives us our top 20. And like, let's focus on that so we can try to get to target 0 and have 0 fatalities, 0 serious injury. And he came to us and said, I think I can help y'all do what you're doing. Like, the word started to spread around the district. And so through his consultant team, he was able to create this useful information for us. Again, it's a spreadsheet, but it took that idea of the top 20, and then we overlaid transit data and we overlaid bike ped data specifically around transit stops. So now what that gave us, the department, me and John, it gave us an opportunity to go to our leadership and say, now I know we don't have a lot of money to do everything, but we have 1 or 2 spots that has all this serious injury because of vehicular traffic, and it has all of these safety elements that could be better or surrounded at a transit stop. Haven't been successful yet in getting something funded, but it's coming and I know it will. We have the data. The data's pretty easy to use. I can't do it, but the people who are doing it for us and on behalf of us are doing it. So we started with just 1 county to see what it would look like. And then just last week, we've engaged with the rest of our urban counties and asked them for all of their data. And so we're going to be able to use all of these maps to tell us where do we need to focus. If we're already going to be doing a project and we're trying to decide who gets money, where will our focus be? Sunrail. Does everyone know what Sunrail is? Okay. Yep. So I'm on the phone one day with LK and he says, very randomly, we call it random Nandam. Michelle, I want you to figure out how to bring Sunrail into Polk County. I mean, that was worse than put a bus over the bridge. And I was like, how many years till retirement? Like, I don't think I can do it. And so I got off the phone with him after I hyperventilated a little bit and I went running into my boss's office, Paul. I'm like, Paul, he said, put Sunrail through Polk County. And I'm freaking out. And I'm like, there's no way I can't, like, that's too big. Like, I thought, talking with the structures design engineer was big for the bridge. I just really couldn't comprehend what that meant. And Paul very calmly said, let's just start with a feasibility study. I'm like, oh yeah, I can do that. That's easy. I don't have to construct it yet. That's good. So we are in the middle of that. We did a TCAR study. Well, I'm sure I'm familiar with that term. It's now a TCPE. I can't remember that acronym either. It's that feasibility study that you do to like kind of entice FTA, right? So check that box of CFTA, we did it. Looks like it's going to work. Now will you give us money? So we've done that. That is completed. We are doing a phased approach. So this is where we're coming into Polk County here, and we're focusing on these green dots here. And we are currently in the PD&E study. The next step is kind of big. It involves our community partners to say yes financially. So that will be the big push. It's a lot of money. Commuter rail, passenger rail is a lot of money. And it's very interesting to hear the legislative committees talk about that because you're choosing something over another thing. And is it really worth it? Is it going to be the congestion relief that you think will happen? So here we are. We're getting ready to get ramped up with our PD&E study, and we'll see where we go next. That'll probably be a year process. 18 months from now will be completed.
You want to talk about Charlene as a business?
Oh, yeah. So thank you, Peyton. One of my colleagues who worked in transit for several years, everything that I've talked about today in terms of being a project manager was coming to me. So I was a project manager for these things, but then I had that other job. Remember, I'm the transit administrator. So I was doing that too. Did the commuter assistance program for a while too. So my plate kept getting full, and Paul knew it, people knew it, but nothing could really be done about it until they found space to hire, and they created a position, and Charlene was able to come into that position. So luckily, not involved in Sunrail anymore. That's a huge relief. I love the project. I want it to be successful, but I just don't want to be the project manager over it. And so she's done this, and she's done several other projects that we've been able to kind of identify that might be good for our district. Oh, there you go, you. So I don't know, it's probably been about a year when LK came to us and said, we need to start talking about advanced air mobility and what that means to the district and what it means to us. Keep in mind, think outside the box. Think of things that will be successful without financial limitations, and know that we are the leaders in this industry. The department is. And so that's kind of sometimes hard to hear, like, oh, they're looking to us. Okay, well, let's figure this out. So I had Martin on the phone one day. I said, hey, what do you know about advanced air mobility? He said, I don't know anything, but I think you might know something. And so we have had one great conversation with you since then. We're really trying to wait and see what direction is happening from our state office in Tallahassee. They just had a meeting last week that was able to provide us with a lot of great information, kind of give us a path forward. And so that's what we're going to be doing. We're trying to assess that readiness of our geographic area. Will it be an airport? Probably, but it doesn't have to be, right? And so those are the kind of conversations we're going to start having. I feel like I've been crawling on this the whole time. I guess I'll probably walk through it. I'm not a runner, so that's never going to happen. We're going to start having conversations with our local agencies. That's all of our cities and our counties. And what does your policy say about this type of thing? What will you be willing to change? What can you change? It's all very interesting because almost everything that we have done in the C3MP role has come down to, what does your policy say that will be allowable in your community? Well, then if it doesn't say what you want it to say, try to change it and then start doing those planning documents. So we'll see where this goes. We're very new at it. Rohan is our expert in it. We like to have one of the three of us be an expert in something. So that's Rohan for this one. I would expect a phone call, just saying. All right, so that's the end of my presentation. And I do always end my presentations with a safety slide. This is our move over law. It changed recently. If you think that you're just moving over for some sirens on an emergency vehicle, ambulance or police, you're not. You're moving over also for that disabled vehicle. Please do not forget that. That car on the side of the road could be you, could be your wife, your husband, your son, your grandkid, your friend next door that you've known for 25 years. So leave them in that safe space that they deserve.